It's snack time! Jenny Windom joins us to chomp down on some snackable games, which are shorter games that you can play in one sitting. On the menu, Sorry We're Closed, Venba, Minnit, and Relaxing Fields. Plus, Leah brings back Memory Card Lane, and the crew guesses which game came out on December 5th, 2023. Bon appetit.
Get ready for the Girls on Games podcast, your weekly dose of news, reviews, and everything video games. Always served with a good helping of hype and just a pinch of salt. And now, your host, Leah.
Welcome to another Girls on Games podcast. My name is Leah. I'm the host of this show. This is episode number 484, and we got a fun one today. Joining us around this digital table, Catherine, how you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm excellent. Joelle, what's up?
Hey, I am officially thawed out of the iceberg that we were
Excellent.
in. Yes.
We're still snowed in, but good for you.
So sorry. Thoughts and prayers.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And joining us from a space that doesn't have the snow that we have, special guest this week, Jenny Windom. How you doing?
Hello. I'm good. Yeah, I'm just enjoying the very cozy rain. So I'm so sorry, everyone.
I mean, snow can be cozy. Rain can be cozy.
It's true.
Night, daytime, sunshine. It's all cozy in the end. Love it. All right, let's get through some housekeeping before we jump into the crew check-in. If you enjoy this show, you can subscribe. We're available on Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and Podbean. If you'd like to get some GOG merch, you can do that by going to designbyhumans.com/shop/girlsongames. I almost screwed that up. If you like or want to give us a tip, maybe buy us a coffee, you can do that by going to our Ko-fi. That's ko-fi.com/girlsongames. You would think after 484 times I'd be able to do that. But no, every time I get tongue-tied. Here we are. I'm really excited to talk to Jenny this week. Thanks for joining us on a full episode of the podcast last year. When we
excited.
It was only a few weeks ago when you think about it, but when you joined us for the wholesome direct, we were chatting afterwards and we're like, yes, please come join us. We've got a really cool idea for an episode we want to do in February. And I was so excited that you said yes.
I know. I was so honored. And yeah, it was perfect too, because like the theme was exactly what I was hoping to do just on my own time, just to try and finish a few games up. And so that aligned perfectly. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here today.
And on top of that, you are so busy because I think all three of us now have played Spirit Swap. Yeah. And you're also launching demos for games and everything. Like, Tell us, how have the past few weeks been? Because it seems like fast, furious, and fun.
Yeah, that is exactly it. Too fast, too furious, too fun. I am tired, but it's all for good stuff. Spirit Swap launch has been great. Like the reception, we've been honestly a little bit blown away by the reception. People have been really kind. I guess we've just gotten so in the weeds with it. And then with Wanderstop, I am the communications director for Ivy Road. So we just launched the demo today, actually, as of this recording. And it's the first time the team has seen the game go out to be publicly playable. And so I think everyone was a bit apprehensive, really wondering, like, we've gotten feedback on individual levels. We've had previews, but what does it mean when it goes out to, like, everyone on Steam? And so far, it's been really positive. So like I was saying earlier, I can sleep easy tonight. I can rest just ahead of launch. So very happy.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I started playing Spirit Swap the weekend, and I love it. It's gorgeous. It scratches the itch that I have. The music is so good. But I'm not going to lie. I don't know what my brain keeps clicking. Like, it just, the whole can't switch things vertical really got me right now.
It is. Well, and it's so funny because we've had so many people ask for that, and we're just like, it's a totally different genre of game. We're sorry, but we can't, like, totally. It's for folks who like love like the Panel de Pon, Tetris Attack, like Pokemon Puzzle League. It's like those are only horizontal swapping. But I remember when I started playing those to like research, I was like, oh my gosh, this is this is going to be different for a lot of folks.
But
Yeah, totally.
once you
I know,
get the pattern
go ahead, Kat.
recognition going, once you get the pattern recognition going, though, you kind of undo that idea that you can go vertically.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's like a brain snap. Like all of a sudden, it's almost like when you flip in languages, right? It's just like I
Yep.
can't. I'm like, why? But I'll get there eventually. But oh my god, the characters are so well done, and the voice acting and stuff. It's just overall a really warm, fuzzy game with just the right mellow on a Sunday evening when you're like, okay, I know I got work in the morning. Now I just want to,
Yep.
listen to some lo-fi beats and match 3.
Yeah, and the music is so great to vibe to at work when I'm like, I got a list of tasks to get done. Lately, like the last couple of weeks, like no joke, like no lie, I've thrown that playlist on and I'm like, I'm just gonna vibe at work and I'm gonna get my tasks done. And it's so great. Like it's that perfect balance of the beats like keep me going, but the mellow chills of calm keep my brain from spiraling out of control. So it's great. Like it's now in like a current standard rotation of like what I listen to at work. So wonderful.
So honored.
Wonderful.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Melty Cannon's our composer and he's amazing. So thank you. Yeah.
Really excited to play Wander Stop too. So looking forward to that. And we'll
That
talk
one's
about
a little less warm fuzzy, a little bit more, oh my god, personal attack. So be ready for that.
Oh,
At least
I'm
for
ready.
me when
My
I
body
played
is
it.
ready. Kat, what have you been up to this week?
I am, you'll have to excuse me, I am completely zonked. I am trying to bring the energy, but I babysat this weekend.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, my brother has 4 children. And the army of people and the organization that was required for them to have about 48 hours away from the kids was nothing short of impressive. So Friday night we only took care of the 2 middle children. The baby was with a family that also has a baby about the same age. So they're like in bottles and diapers. So they were like, yeah, an extra one. Let's grab it. And the eldest was at a friend for the whole weekend. Sleepover at a whole weekend. So we took the 2 middle kids. Friday night, we got the boy. And then the little girl went to a friend's for dinner, blah, 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 came back a bit later. So we mostly did like evenings. So the boy's about 9, so we can play board games. Like he coached me at Settlers of Catan to the point that I won my first game ever. So shout out Raphael, thank you. We watched Mighty Ducks 2 because he's heavily into
Hell
hockey.
yeah.
Quack.
Oh, classic. Oh my gosh.
So my brother was, of course, well, I'll show you the hockey movies I grew up on. And rewatching this as an adult, they go to an international hockey tournament. And the teams there is like Trinidad, Italy, Iceland,
Yeah.
and like Germany. And we were like, who picked those countries?
Someone who hates the neighbors up north.
Just like Trinidad. Like,
There wasn't even a Canadian team in there. It was
No.
USA against Iceland is like
Yeah.
the big battle.
the
Iceland.
big rivalry. I
Yeah.
was like, no
Okay.
Russians, no Canadians, no Finns.
I mean, spoiler alert, Americans are terrible at geography, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. It says ice.
Spoiler alert,
We're
they came
like-
second in hockey too. Not gonna lie. No dig, no dig.
Oh!
Oh,
Was that too soon?
it's never too soon for a hockey victory. We gotta rub that in.
No, you deserve it.
Yeah, and then Saturday, they spent the day with their uncle, who, shout out to him, uncle being on her side. I'm on the brother's side. He has a car, so he helped with like getting the kid to his hockey practice, and then coming back, showering, and then they went. And I think the little girl had something in the afternoon as well. I forget. I blacked out. And they came back around 8. and, we hung out. And then Sunday morning, I had to go with the little girl to her skating practice. And we had to take a taxi there because it is nowhere near transit. Or we would have to take the bus and, Sunday, whatever. They gave me a taxi budget and I was like, cool. They gave me a taxi budget and a booster seat. She's too little to just sit on a car. Oh. But she's 5 and she's like at that fiercely independent age. So she was like, she would grab the booster, put it down, sit down on it and tie herself in. And then she would like, okay, give me my snack. I was like, cool. I can get into this. Like, and she was just like, and I'll be getting out of the car myself. I was like, cool. Hey, Mr. Taxi Driver, man, can you make sure we're on the right side so she can get out and he was like, I got you. He was like, he was laughing the whole way because this little girl was like, I'm doing this all myself. I'm getting in the car myself. I'm getting out of the car myself. And he was like, you sure, honey?
Girl power.
Yeah. Wow.
And then at noon, they had other parents pick them up and they were spending the afternoon at friends playing. Except the parents were like, you're driving them there. And I was like, I called them and I was like, I think there was a miscommunication. I am carless. I'm like, but if she was like, I already have kids here. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, I'll grab a taxi or are you clear near a metro station? She was like, no, I'm sending my husband. I was like, cool, whatever. Listen, I can take a taxi and charge it to my brother. Like he can pay the $15 and then I can just walk back. It's fine. But then after that, they were gone. And when I think about it, we had the kids like maybe super part-time.
Yeah.
And I am completely drained.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And now I understand how I drove my mom crazy. I don't know. This is very 90s kids, right? And we had cable money. We had full cable because we needed to have the sports channel to watch the hockey games and the baseball games. Okay, we were a hockey and baseball household. We needed to have like TSN and shit like that. So I had all the extra channels. And I spent a lot of like, when my mom was like, yeah, you can, 2 hours before bedtime, play some games, watch some TV, you're done your homework, it's fine. And I would just zap through the channels nonstop and never watch an entire episode of something. They're doing this, but with streaming services. And the little boy likes to just jump between all the Star Wars. At one point, we were watching the original trilogy, and then he switched to Lego Star Wars, and then he switched to the Clones cartoon. And then after that, he switched. He was the Star Wars.
How do you
section.
follow a story?
I don't know. He knows them all by heart, right?
Oh, okay. Doesn't
He's
matter at
watched
this
them
point.
like 1,000 times. There are two things this boy loves: hockey and Star Wars, in that order. So
Solid.
yeah, very much a Canadian little boy. So yeah, it was just like, it was driving me nuts, and I was like, oh my God, I get it now. So, Mom, I would like to officially apologize for my undiagnosed and unmedicated ADHD TV watching. Because even this diagnosed and medicated kid was like jumping all over the place between streaming services. And the 5-year-old did the same. And I'm just like, I think it's just a children thing, where at one point you're given like no reins, and we're like, yeah, have an hour of, unconstructed or undirected time. Like for the next hour before bedtime, do whatever the hell you want. And I'm just going to be here and I'll tell you when it's done and we have to go to bed. Video games, your toys, your Barbies, the TV, books, board games, after a day of like activities and, schedule, we're like, the floor is yours for the next like 60 to 90 minutes. And they just end up like flipping between everything. And I'm just like, this is why they have structure. This is why they have a schedule.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, the weekend without a hitch, it was fine. But I am not built for parenthood. I mean, I took that decision for myself at a very young age. And as I'm an adult, I realize I'm like, yeah, this is fine. I love them. And I'm happy. I'm happy to be able to like give my brother and his girlfriend like that weekend where they can just go sleep, ski, eat, just be child free for like about 48 hours. But I was like, oh, wow. I can't do this every weekend.
I'm waiting for the time when, now obviously my niece is now like not even 3 months old, but I'm waiting for the time that'll be my rite of passage to say, hey, auntie, take the child for a bit.
Keyword
so
here is
go relax.
The child. My brother didn't stop
Not
after the
multiple
first
children. Well, we don't know yet. We're not getting there yet.
No,
That's
but
one right now.
the challenge with like babysitting or helping my brother in any way is like he has a child at every development stage. You know, the baby, the toddler that's coming into childrenhood, the young child, the older child that's on the cusp of being a teenager. So it is a mixed bag. But yeah, that was my very eventful weekend. So next weekend, I am probably going to faceplant because this week at work is going to be a busy one for anybody who's in the live game grind. It's a week with a lock where we're locking a title update. So bit of a got to make sure everything's done. So it's 2 days. The next 2 days is basically just me going after people like, are you approving this? Are you approving this? I need to submit this. Can I submit this? Any last minute changes? Like, this is going in the game. This is going in the game. Which always, I find that more tiring than just doing my job. It's just like, did you just, like, because Thursday morning I show up at 9, I sync my engine, and then I just submit all my change lists. And I'm just like, y'all know me. If by Thursday you don't say shit, it's going in the game.
You'll deserve a weekend of just sitting on the couch and playing Avowed then.
I'm not even sure Friday is going to be much of a work day, to be honest.
It'll be a lie down and stare. Maybe you'll be the one jumping through different Star Wars in case you can't pay attention to anything.
Exactly. As I keep an eye on my inbox to see if there are any bugs coming in post-lock.
Yep. Exactly. Joelle, what'd you do this week?
Ooh, I had a big old weekend of updating my own child, the PC.
Oh, yes.
Way less energy as Kat, I'll say. But still took 5 hours. But yeah, so I was a little spooked by the possible tariffs, not gonna lie, so I kind of jumped the gun, and I knew I had to upgrade my graphics card because it was a 1070 Ti, and it was getting less than the minimum requirements for certain games. So I thought, all right, I'm going to go ahead and just try to upgrade. Well, of course, upgrading your graphics card means upgrading your CPU, means upgrading your motherboard, means upgrading your everything else. So the cascade of upgrades fell upon me, but I was able to get in with some assistance. I was able to get the motherboard, the CPU, which I did grab a 7800 X3D core, which was, I'm very pleased about that and looking forward to it. And yeah, got it all working. I still have a few kinks to work out. Not sure why I don't boot from my SSD. I reuse the SSD, but don't know why I can't boot, so might have to be tapping into the Tech Talk Discord channel for that. So don't understand why that doesn't work. But overall, like, really happy with the build. It looks really good. I bought a Corsair liquid AIO cooler. It's my first ever like liquid cooler, and it looks sick. Like, it looks so clean in the build, and it was so easy to install. I was blown away. I thought it would be way more complicated, but I had a Best Buy gift card, and so I dropped the coin on an RGB like Titan cooler, and that thing was like plug and play. I was like, honestly, I thought it would take way more effort than it did. So, yeah, got it. And the thermal paste is on it. I don't know. I just couldn't. I was like, I can't
You didn't even squeeze your own paste.
No, I didn't even squeeze. The paste was squeezed. It was
Free-squeezed.
was pre-squeezed and laid out in a beautiful, delicate tapestry art pattern onto the plate of the cooler. I was like, I should just sit down. Like, why do I need to do anything? So, it is beautiful. It is humming along. Also, what's really neat, I don't know if people know this, but, and I upgraded to Windows 11, so I'm now in the 21st century into Windows 11. And if you have Armory Crate, you can have Armory Crate's dynamic backgrounds, which are RGB, like infused. And so when I got Armory Crate updated, I picked out a dynamic background for my PC, and it's beautiful. It is, if you just are RGB crazed, it is gorgeous. I just love having it on, and the background of my desktop is just RGB now. And
I love it.
It's
so cool.
You're speaking my language.
I am Googling what the fuck Armory Crate is. Because at first I thought you were saying like it was a thing, like NVIDIA had those AI software to like have better delimitation so that you could have like zoom backgrounds.
No.
Or I thought it was that. It's like, no, inside your PC there's a background.
Yeah, and maybe it's just driven by my graphics card. I don't fully understand it. I'm not going to pretend to understand it. I just know that I have pretty backgrounds that now RGB on their own as I'm now recording this podcast, and it's amazing. So
meaning you're not looking at the document, you're just staring at your computer.
If I go off into space and you're like, Joelle, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I was hypnotized by my background. So.
Mesmerized,
yeah. Yes.
Love that. Fantastic. I'm glad it was a lot easier this time around than...
Oh my gosh, yeah, like... I just was like, wow, apparently expensive components pay off because it was significantly easier.
Yeah.
So,
pay the money, things
Pay the
work.
money.
Yeah. I did a little upgrade to my setup too. I've been debating what like mic arm, like mic stand to have. I was going to do just a tabletop stand, but then Mike was like, no, buy the low profile arm. Like it can be part of your birthday present. And so I did and installed it today. And I feel so comfortable because I can pull the microphone right close to my face and sit back and not be hunched over. It's so comfortable. So yeah, I got the what is it? Elgato Wave mic arm low profile, and the thing is slick. I posted a picture in Discord and on social. Yeah, the rig is coming together. I gotta say, though cable management is not a very pretty sight right now. That's something that I'm thinking about doing. Taking my day off for my birthday, which is on Thursday. Also Pokemon Day. Of course. Really excited to see what they announce.
Yeah.
I know that was like branding, perfect branding when they decided to release Pokemon on my birthday.
Of course.
But yeah, I might play games and do cable management because I'm a nerd. Yeah, happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday to you.
Nerd.
Yes.
Oh my. All right, let's get through Fantasy Critic real quick. And then we're going to play our game of the week because usually what we do when we do our what we're all playing, there's usually a topic of the show. But that is the topic of the show this week because we're talking about snackable games and we all played a snackable game. So first, Fantasy Critic, Podcast League. This week, we had 2 games release, or at least in the past week. Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. That was on my list. Had a critic rating of 80, so I meant 10 points. Kat had Avowed on her list, released with a critic rating of 81, 11 points. On the bids front, Midnight Walk. I won that on my list for $5. Borderlands 4 was won by Kat with a bid of $10. I tried to buy it for $5, but I was outbid. And then Hell Is Us, I picked that one up for another $5. Nobody had any drops this week. The ranking right now is Kat in first, me in second, Joelle in third.
May I interject here because I need to immortalize this moment. Right now I have 3 games out. Civilization, Avowed, and Rift of the Necrodancer. All 3 at 81 points. All 3 giving me 11 points. It is beautiful.
It is your angel. It is your angel number.
11.
Like
Like the release date of Skyrim.
Oh, snap.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
Blessed.
Yeah.
You are
Yeah.
blessed.
You are
gonna
blessed.
You're gonna win again.
Arrow to the knee.
Hashtag.
Anytime anybody says Skyrim, it's all I shout.
I think of the sweet rolls.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay,
Someone
obviously
stole their
different
sweet
brain
rolls. And then there was a stream of Felicia Day where she stole all the sweet rolls and then just released them all on her bed in game. It was beautiful. The gift that keeps on giving. I'm sorry.
It is.
Please move on.
Skyrim on everything. Literally everything. On your fridge. Community League. 3 games released. Like a Dragon, Pirate, and Yakuza in Hawaii. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. I am saying that right. That was purchased by or owned by the Itty Bitty Kitty Games Publishing Committee, aka CAT, with a critic rating of 80 and points 10. Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. That was on Pat's list, critic 77.7, and Avowed was on Stainsby Kingsby's roster with a critic of 81, points 11. Bids. Bunch of different things happened this week. Directive 8020, a Dark Pictures game, was picked up by NJK with a bid of $3. That's a steal. The Midnight Walk. This one had a lot of people bid on it. It was won by Pat for a bid of $12. Jessica tried to pick it up for $9. Didn't work because she was outbid. NJK tried to pick it up for $6 as well, was outbid. And then I tried to pick it up for $5, was outbid. Congratulations, Pat. I hope that game does you well. Shantae Advance Risky Revolution was won by Jessica Starr with a bid of $6. And Knights in Tight Spaces, what a name for a game. Knights in Tight Spaces.
Googling that.
Love that. Won by Pugs and Pixels, aka Jessica Starr, with a bid of $6. No drops this week. Ranks are Pat in first, Stainsby Kingsby in second, Margot in third, Simon in fourth, Albay in fifth, Kat in sixth, Darth Stridius in seventh, and Phoenix in eighth. Nobody else is on the board. And that's the Fantasy Critic. So what is Knights in Tight Spaces?
It is not a porn game. It is
It's not, what was it, Robin Hood Men in Tights?
neither.
The video game?
But it could
Damn it.
be. There's a potential. Knight in
Okay.
Tight Spaces is a tactical deck building game in the same universe as Fights in Tight Spaces. So it is a sequel. The successful game by Ground Shatter. It is a standalone title that sends us back to medieval times, building on the much-loved gameplay in new and dynamic ways while maintaining the same stylish look and filtering animated fight sequences. So it's literally knights in a small space, and they fight. And the mechanics are deck building for you to fight. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
I had not heard of this game before.
I'm pretty sure there's a For Honor game mode that's very similar to this. I need to send this to my team. We need to make jokes about this. Sorry. Anything medieval
man.
and funny, I'm like, this is For Honor posting. I'm sending it to the group chat.
I love that. Okay, it brings us to the point in the podcast where it's time to play Game On! This is a video game podcast, so let's play a podcast game about video games! Yay! All right. This week, it's my turn to take on the mantra as the game leader. We're going to bring back Walk Down Memory Card Lane. So, the team will have to guess a historical game that has released in the past. We will start with its release date, then I'll give hints about the game for the team to attempt to guess what it is. As always, ladies, talk it out, discuss, deliberate. Now I just need to make sure I open my Notion so that I can make sure I'm giving you the right hints. Okay. This game released on December 5th, 2023. Let the guessing begin.
Oh,
2023.
23.
Oh, that was...
Years ago.
Yeah, not very long ago.
Long ago, yet not long ago.
Yeah.
I know, I'm like eternity yet.
Yeah, in December.
Yeah, it's
Of
this.
all
The date is throwing me off a bit. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, because December is a very odd
Release window.
released window. Yeah, December. Wait, you said December 3rd?
5th, 2023.
5th, okay.
Yeah.
December 5th.
23.
Came
Would you
out
like
that
another
year.
hint?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. This game released on
Oh, God.
iOS, macOS, tvOS, Switch, PS4, PS5, Windows, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S. Not a fridge for Skyrim.
Or PDF.
Skyrim.
PDF.
Not a PDF.
Doom.
Calculators. But it is on every tvOS too. Wow, it is.
TVOS.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's got to be.
Is it Spirit Swap? Lo-fi beats to
We
mix
just
3
went
too.
back.
Just a plug. Let's do it. They released this in December 5th, 2023, Jenny.
Oh my gosh. Oh man.
On everything. Okay, so I'm thinking possibly a Miyoho release. They do Genshin Impact, but they did another game.
Oh yeah.
One of those free to play like games.
Oh, was that the Zenless Zone Zero? But that wasn't. That was last year, I think.
Okay.
I don't think that was 23.
No,
Good
it's not that.
End of year. I feel like it's like the
Yeah.
blackout
On
of, like,
everything.
On everything.
On everything.
Except the
Wait,
Switch, I
do-
think.
Yeah, no Switch.
No, Switch is in there.
Okay.
Oh, Switch. Never mind. On everything.
Oh, yeah. It's the whole kit and caboodle.
That is quite the release strategy.
Yeah. I
And was this
cannot
like
confirm it
an
was
or-
all the same time, but it currently exists on all of these platforms.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I wasn't that thorough in my
Okay.
That helps. I don't know.
Do you want another hint?
Yeah, I'm ready for another hint.
Yes.
Okay. It is both a single player and a multiplayer game.
Man.
Single player and multiplayer. Okay, so this game has money. Like, this game has.
What would it be? Would it be a DLC? Like, would it be like an addition?
No.
Okay. she
Not-
says-
no, I'll
she
give you
says
that
no.
another time.
All right. Thank you. All right.
I didn't want you to walk down that path too far. That you would get lost
Appreciate
down
you.
that
Yes.
memory card lane.
Yes. Thank you.
Is this like a? God, how do I phrase this? Is this like a long-standing IP? Like, is this an IP that we would know?
It is very hard for me to answer that question without giving it away.
Ooh, okay, okay. So this
Leah.
this feels like it would be familiar IP then.
Yes.
like this
Yeah.
is one that would
Asterisk.
probably.
Like, I don't want you to. Hard for me to answer that question without giving it away.
Jenny, please come on more often because this is way easier with you here already.
Because see, we just wait for the hints and guess, and she says yes or no, and you're like bargaining for more information.
Yes.
All right. Do you want another hint?
Yes.
Yes.
Players tend to a magical valley.
Disney
Disney
Dreamlight Valley.
Yeah,
Yes!
Disney Dreamlight Valley.
Now you can see why that would have given it away.
There you
Yes,
go.
it
All
was.
right. All right.
All right, so
job.
Disney Dreamlight Valley released on December 5th, 2023 on everything in the kitchen sink. I'm not going to list all that out again. Both single player and multiplayer. Players
Yeah.
tend to a magical valley. The hints I didn't get to include life simulation / adventure. The valley is synced with real time, which was a pain in the arse for those of us who mostly played at night. The player can explore the valley to gather resources and use their magic to clear away night thorns. There is cooking. Decorating your house and the valley is a big part of the game, and it was developed by Gameloft Montreal. That's Disney Dreamlight Valley. Yay!
Hell
Thanks
yeah.
all. That was fun.
That was fun. I love
Lovely.
guessing games.
Yay!
Good pick. Good pick.
We play a game every week. That one we were doing for almost a year and a half, and I started running out of ideas. So now we cycle through, and each of us brings in a game. I really enjoyed the one Joelle brought last week. It was higher or lower, and she had some really rando questions for us, and we were like, I don't know.
Well, you're all experts, so I had to kind of dig deep into some weird spaces just to be like, I don't know. Can't make it too easy.
These games, they help us like forge friendships, deepen relationships, and also learn about games like Theme Park.
Theme park, baby. Yes.
Which is
a game I should have played in, 1999?
exactly.
You can still play it. You can still do it.
I can still do it.
It's probably like $5 on GOG or something.
Maybe. Yeah. All right, ladies. Well, we're going to get into topic of the show in a very quick minute. Snackable games, because we all played one over the past few weeks. We'll be right back right after this break. And we're back. This week's topic of the show is snackable games. You might ask, what classifies a game as a snackable game? Well, the parameters we put around it was the concept that the game needed to be finished in 1 to 2 sittings, you know? Something you can play over a weekend. Something you sit down, a video game amuse-bouche, as you will, you know? That kind of vibe, where it's something quick, easy, got you in, got you out, had a little bit of fun, and then time to move on to the next one. Considering this is the shortest month of the year, thought it was appropriate to do in February. So, each one of the 4 of us went on an adventure and played a different snackable game. Considering Jenny is our guest here today, I'd love to hear about the game that she played, which is called Sorry, We're Closed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I have been looking forward to Sorry We're Closed for a pretty decent amount of time, I feel like, and this was the excuse for me to really hunker down, play it. It's a blend between survival horror, like classic survival horror where you're exploring in third-person perspective. There is an element of where you go into the shooting mode, and that switches you to a first-person perspective, which I thought was really unique and fun. And then the story is one of you getting cursed by a demon who just wants to be with you forever. And so for February, I was like, oh my gosh, game about messy relationships. Sign me up.
Appropriate.
Yes. I had an absolute blast with this game. Really, it actually hit way harder. Like the narrative packs a punch that I did not anticipate. It really goes into like, what's the nature of toxic relationships? What does it mean to like change? What does it mean to love someone? And you see this through the character of Michelle, who is this person who is like cursed by the demon. But you also see it through some of the side characters that you encounter, and you can actually choose to help them or hinder them. That also changes a little bit of your ending. And so there's an element of choice that gets thrown in and I always love that. You give me a choice, you give me varied endings, and I'm sold for a game. And yeah, it took me about, I would say about 7 or 8 hours. So it's like a little bit heftier of a snack, but it did not feel like that long. Honestly, it was such a joy to play. And I would say if you're afraid of survival horror, it's not very jump scary. It's more of like the horror of almost mundane life, where it's like the horror of like knowing that something might not be right for you, but you're going to continue to pursue it. You know, it's like that kind of like under your skin stuff, which I love more so than super explicit gore or a ton of jump scares. So really fun. Just cannot recommend it enough, especially if you like the retro PS1, PS2 sort of aesthetic, because that's the vibe. So yeah, really good stuff.
This game looks like a trip.
Yeah, it does.
It's so good.
The art is wild.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It looks like if Persona 5 was done on an old, like, Nintendo 64 in how the aesthetic works. And it has that, like, dark, dingy vibes, but, like, so much pop of neon color and everything, too. Mm-hmm. And it really does have that Persona 5 vibe because of the, like, you know, maybe dark kind of connotations with some of the character illustrations and things like that, which kind of lean dark, but then also kind of lean on the more sexual side of it, it looks like, too. Especially, I guess, because of the relationship part of it. Wow. Yeah, this is quite the game. And new, too. It came out 14th of November.
Yeah, so really recent. It's an a la Mode Games. That's the dev. Really sweet. Like, it's just 2 of them. And I think they have some contractors, but it's primarily just the 2 folks who make up the studio. And then published by Akupara, I believe.
How'd you hear about it?
I think honestly it was during I played the demo a long time ago, or it felt like a long time ago, and so ever since I played the demo, I think what hooked me was the aesthetic instantly, and then the not gimmick, but the mechanic of switching between first and third person perspective. It's like I was saying to someone else earlier today, it's a 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10 game where it's like a little clunky, a little raw. Like some of it isn't the most polished thing you'll experience, but it has so much to it that you almost don't mind and like embrace a lot of the like rough edges of it because it is so just authentic feeling. Like it feels so sincere and raw in a lot of really wonderful ways. So yeah, love it.
It's almost
Kinda
like it's
like that,
using like it's like kitschy. Like it's kind of using that appropriately. The style, the aesthetic is totally intentional.
Yeah, somewhat like a cult classic. Like when you watch something that's like, this is immediate, like going to be a cult classic, like type of experience. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Jenny. That's an awesome game. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Catherine, you decided to go cooking in Venba.
Yes, this game has been on my radar ever since it was announced. I remember on Twitter seeing the audio designer detailing how they bought a bunch of kitchen equipment and learned to cook so that they could record all the audio for this game, because it is food-based. You're cooking. Every level is about cooking, so the sounds needed to be authentic, and they got it down. As somebody who cooks a lot, I was like, I need to absolutely play this game. It is definitely a snack. I think it took me 2 hours to complete. It is a short but poignant story. It's a story of immigration in second cultures. So it is a Tamil family from India moving to Toronto. And then there's a bit of a culture clash with Canada, as well as a son who falls between these two cultures. And as a kid, you want to fit in. You want to be eating pizza and chicken nuggets like everybody in school. But the big, for Venba, which is the main character, which is the mother, for her, a big connection to her family and her culture is the dishes she cooks. So she has her mom's recipe book. And some of the recipes are starting to fade, so she has to remember them. And the gaming mechanics are basically you trying to decipher these old recipes and you making a dish. And in between these dish, and there's a story leading to this dish, and in between, after the dish, there's like more stories. And it's basically just a story of this family, of knowing when to leave a place, when to stay, when to go back, how to come to gripes with and I say clashing not in the sense that it's a one against the other, but just very different cultures, right? And because of those places have also very different weather patterns, and just, Canada's cold. So, of course, finding some of these ingredients you want to make for your dishes are harder, and they're like actually more expensive here because they're all imported. While over in India, it's just, it grows in your backyard. And coming to terms with like all of these changes and these adaptations. As somebody who cooks a lot, who spends a lot of time sitting with people at work, and every time I meet somebody who loves to cook, I just start talking food. And I've expanded a lot of like my palate, my cuisine through speaking through people, because everybody has a lot of like these recipes. And a few of these I recognize from a colleague of mine who was like, "Oh yeah, you need to try things like roti instead of naan and things like that." And I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is roti?" Like I'm just Googling as he's talking. I'm like, "Is this recipe good, sir? Is this what I'm gonna make?" Some colleagues actually like emailed me stuff from their mom.
Aww.
And so that's why when I saw Venba, I was like, I actually need to play this. Overall, the art is like a storybook. The music is amazing. Great catchy tunes. I think it's all original music that they had artists make for this game. All in Tamil. And it was like so catchy, like just sitting there with the sounds of the kitchen and just like music in the background and just getting into the mood of cooking. I cook often with music, playing music in headphones or on a speaker. I like to do that when I'm going to cook for a long time. I put on some tunes. So I was like, I'm into this. I absolutely love this game. And bonus is there's a complete recipe book in the game. So as you play through and you learn to make these dishes, and I'm sorry, I don't remember all the names because I did play it like last week, but also I don't want to butcher them. But as you like start to make, they make these recipes like the fried fish or the chicken soup. And I'm just like, I need to remember these. I need to Google these later. No, man, you just go back to the main menu. And there's a full recipe book. They collaborated with food consultants and curated a recipe book. So the recipes were for the game, but also you have them in the game. You can just look at it and you can make every meal that was presented. Because at one point, slight spoiler, but towards the end of the game, like Venba prepares an entire spread, like an entire feast. So instead of concentrating on one dish, she makes a lot of like smaller dishes. You know, like she's frying fish, she's making another side dish and stuff like that, and got really quick. And I was like, I need this table of food in my home right now. Like just the sounds, I could almost like smell it. And like the art style is very storybook like, but even then everything looked delicious. I don't know how how they got this balance of a simplified art style, but keeping it detailed enough that the dishes look scrumptious. That is a feat in itself, honestly. I can see how this game, even though it is a very short game, it is a snack. It's every type of a snack. It's a snackable game. It's short. You can make snacks because it teaches you to make food. And you can enjoy it. I can understand why this game made a lot of waves. Like it was a very touching story, amazing characters, and then just learning about cooking techniques. I would have never known using colloquial or just like stuff that's very common to be in kitchens elsewhere that is not common in my kitchen. And I'm just like, oh, maybe I need to get these things and learn to make these things. Or maybe now that I go to a restaurant, I won't just be like, yeah, the butter chicken, please. Maybe I'll know what a lot of these dishes are and maybe venture out into trying different things. Yeah, that is Venba. It was a very packed 2 hours. I came out of there with like my head spinning and my idea, like with a story that really touched my soul, and also just ideas to make dinner.
This game too, I think when it got announced, because I remember playing it on release, I think I heard about it from a Wholesome Game Direct. Does that sound right, Jenny? Was it announced in a Wholesome Game Direct?
I know it was in a direct. I can't remember if we had. I don't think we officially like did the first announcement, but I know we had one of their like major announcements. But
yeah, it really. What I went into the game with knowledge-wise, and then what I came out with was entirely different, which was great, and it did definitely pull on the heartstrings. This is a great game for like, you have a few hours and you want to try something different and get a full experience. Venba's a great example.
Yeah, and it's a great way for also like us like Canadians to learn more about people that live here, that immigrated here, or that, you know, like all I know is the fucking snow, right? Yeah. So this basically, like, if you walk a mile in my shoes, this is what I talk about games like letting you live the experience of other people. And this is what I play games for. This is what I want. It's not just about the power fantasy of big man with sword. It's like, hey, would you like to learn about people that immigrated to Toronto in the 90s? And I'd be like, fuck yeah. We'll teach you how to cook too. I'm like, absolutely. You got me. I'm here. I'm there. Meet you there.
Perfect. Joelle, you picked up Minnit?
I did. I was searching for a snackable game, and I'm not going to lie, I had a bit of a tough time trying to find a game that I felt like I could finish in a weekend, and something that really grabbed my interest. And when I landed upon Minnit, I knew this was the game I really wanted to play. I did a little bit of light YouTubing research on the gameplay, and Minnit grabbed my attention because it's a 2D top-down adventure game, and it's as if a Toby Fox game, which did Deltarune, which he also did Undertale. So if you're a fan of those like really pixelated, minimalistic style games, it's as if that game had a crossover with Zelda 1, the very first original Zelda. So I knew it would be heavy puzzle. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll give this a try. And as you start off in the game, it's all black and white. It's all pixel. It's very minimalistic, simple art style. You have to roam around and find a sword. And after you find the cursed sword, you have 60 seconds each playthrough to try to progress in the game. So it's a timed thing. So you only have a minute each time. And I will say the timer is a little lax on the minute. It's probably more like a minute and a half to try to find your next item that progresses you in the game. So again, it's like that tribute to Zelda where you go around, you find other characters in the game, you interact with them, they need something from you, you give them an item that you want, that they want, excuse me, and then you progress in the game. And every time your timer hits 60 seconds, you have to start over. So it's definitely something where you want to be efficient, you want to kind of think ahead, you want to plan what your next route is going to be. And I found it really, really fun, super clever. The main story probably took me about 4 hours to like fully complete. And I will say this had a surprisingly sick end boss battle. I was not prepared. It took me a hot minute to kind of figure it out, but again, kind of more in line with the Undertale bullet hell, maybe a little bit, not, kind of light spoiler. So if that's like your jam, if you're interested in a story heavy, really creative characters, into this world of having to do a minute by minute type of adventuring and then get into a battle at the end. It was really fun and it was really clever, and I love the minimalist art style of it all, because it really, then I was able to focus on what I needed to do as being an action driven oriented game, instead of admiring, right, all of the beautiful, not say that it was like void of art style, but because it was black and white, because it was pixel, I was able to read the terrain of where everything was, and everything was easily readable as a player, and I could know exactly where I needed to go. So I would say I really appreciated that about the game, whereas that I only had 60 seconds to figure out where I needed to go, and I thought the map was really easy to navigate in that short amount of time span. And the game, once I got into the groove, it was really, really, really fun. So I had a great time. I started off on my PC, on my old PC, I should say, on Steam, and then I moved to my Ally, my Rogue Ally, and it was so fun to sit and play on the couch. It was a great game to sit and enjoy and show because, again, you had 60 seconds, I would say, maybe extended seconds to play the game. So it was really fun game to relax and play and kind of figure out. If you wanted to play the full game and get all of the items and treasures and tokens, I would say it's probably more of like maybe 6 hours to fully all the trophies to do the full game. But other than that, it was really, really fun. So yeah, I would give Minnit a try. It was published in 2018, so it's not like a really recent title, I would say, but it's available basically everywhere. If you want to grab it on Linux, Windows, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, it's kind of available. So it's a really great game if you have a few minutes and you want to pick it up and you don't mind a high death count, I would say, because that's definitely something that you're going to experience as you go through the game. So like the point is to get as much as you can get through in 60 seconds, and it was really a unique experience. So I'm really glad I picked that up.
Awesome. Yeah, I'd heard of this game, but never had played it. So I'm glad you brought it to the table, Joelle.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Right. The game that I ended up playing is called Relaxing Fields, and I found this one through Twitter, I believe, or X. It actually released on February 3rd of this year, so I was like, oh, that's kind of fun. And I was like, is it possible for us to play a snackable farming sim? Because that's essentially what it is. And I was like, usually a farming sim is pretty deep, right? And you know me, I love to min-max a farming sim. So the concept is it's a short, simple, and relaxing idle game where you grow crops, build homes for farmers, and earn money to decorate, which is pretty darn spot on of a description. I played through it in about 4 hours, and I'm not going to lie, a lot of that was me just waiting for time to pass, because as the hardcore min-maxer that I am in these kinds of games, I didn't have to do much work myself because I just made all my characters do all the work. So the concept is that you're a farmer, go figure, and you want to grow crops, and those crops will earn you money. You can hire other farmers who come at a one-time cost for a building. So as you earn the money, you've got the choice of buying different crops, farmers with their house, or decorative items. The game kind of circles around this concept of you plant the seed, water it, tend to it, and then pull the crops. And it's super repetitive in that sense. And you just click over and over and over again until like when you do like when you seed, you water, you like tend the crops. And then when you finally click and the crops pop out, they kind of pop around you on the screen and you got to move your mouse around to collect them. But once you have farmers, they can do that for you exactly the same way you do. So you can kind of just sit back and chill and watch it all out. So the first beginning of the game is a lot of you being hands-on in that sense. But then you just start to manage all of these farmers that you get. There's also these gnomes, I want to call them. They look like little garden gnomes or little elves or something that kind of roam around. And you start off seeing one on the land. You can click on them every so often. They give you a little prompt that they want to talk. You click on them, or a farmer goes up to them. And they will also give you money. And they can give you between 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 coins, which is great. And that's all driven through the fact that how much decorative things that you've kind of put around your farmland. I spent the last hour of the game just waiting for time to pass to kind of tick through the levels and the money, because I just got so into the make money, buy farmer, make money, buy the best crop to make the most amount of money that I sped through this pretty quickly. There is a level progression system, but it's more like a game tutorial because they feed you concepts of what you need to do to get to the next bit, which then gives you experience points, which then pushes you further. You can just decorate if you want to, if that's your vibe. Usually that's something I do near the very end of a game, but at this point I was like, I made all my money. I got to the top level. I'm good with it. Once you get those max gnomes and everything, you're just waiting. You're just waiting for time to pass. And yeah, so The game's okay, I want to say. It feels more like someone's first farm sim to kind of get them used to that kind of mechanic, more so than something for me who plays a lot of that kind of content. It's $3.79 Canadian on Steam right now. So, like, it's not like it's breaking the bank or anything for you to pick it up. It just really didn't have any replay value in my mind. So yeah, it's short, it's sweet. If you're catching achievements, there you go. It's a pretty easy one. You can get it in 4 hours or so. Or if you've never played a farm sim before, you have someone who's really curious and never done anything like that, and you want something super hand-holdy, super easy, there's no way you can lose at this game. So yeah, Relaxing Field was all right. Not something I'm gonna pick up again, but yeah, if you got someone who's new to the genre and you want them to learn something really quick, that's it. It's got a pixel art kind of art style. The music is a little bit catchy. Yeah, so I figured I would try something that's in my normal wheelhouse, but snackable. And there you go. That was Relaxing Field.
I just got to give them a shout out for tackling something as deep as the farming sim and making it snackable and casual. That in itself is a feat, right?
Yeah, that's what I was curious about. I was like, how do you, after playing all the different games that we have with all the different systems, you know, and we're playing like hundreds and hundreds of hours of some of these games, right? With levels upon levels of complexity to get it to work, and seasons and all this kind of stuff, and say, okay, we're going to take this and trim it down to the bare minimum. And also the point where, like, at one point I was doing laundry, watching the characters make money for me, which is exactly what you want to do in life, right? Turnkey. So yeah,
yes.
But it was a fun experiment, I gotta say. I like the fact that we challenged ourselves to try and find games that could be played in a few hours, because oftentimes I find that I'm overwhelmed with the amount of content that's offered in a game, especially considering how much we try to tackle.
Yeah, I was actually having a conversation with a colleague today because she was looking at Spiritfarer. And she was like, oh, you played it? I was like, yeah, but I didn't play like the DLC, but I played it on launch, and it's like, it destroyed me in a good way. Loved it. And she was like, oh, how long was it? I was like, I don't know, like about 10 hours. You know, it's an indie game. It's a double A-ish indie game by Thunder Lotus. I was like, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours, depend on how, like, you know, she's like, oh, it's not an infinite management sim. I'm not, no, there's, the mechanic is management sim, but that mechanic progresses in the story. And she was like, but I don't know, $5 for $10 for 10 hours. I'm like, it's an independent game. You know, you get to a point where there's a baseline to make a game. And I was like, it's a local game made by people in Montreal. And lo and behold, she's like, I was like, oh wait, there's the Sales from Quebec games on Steam, and you know, like it's $5 on Steam. And she's like, oh yeah, and I got a Steam card for my birthday. So she was looking into it, but I was like, not every game that is worth playing is going to be hundreds of hours. It's going to be an infinite grind.
Yep.
Or it's going to be something, you know, like Spiritfarer, you could play on, I think, in a long weekend, or if you know, but I wouldn't play it like in one sitting, because every story every character in this game will destroy you.
Yeah, no.
And she was like, I'm going to cry, aren't I? I'm like, yes. Yes, you are.
Yes.
So I was like, you can take that 10 hour and sip it, because you're just going to, it's going to be a hard one. Like, that story is so touching. But yeah, it was a discussion of just like, not every game, like sometimes, like I paid $12 to play 2 hours of Venba, and I have zero regrets. Zero regrets. Like at one point, you got to support people that, you know, it's not free to make these games. It's not free to distribute these games, but also sometimes it's not about like money in, hours out. Sometimes it's just about money in, I come on the other end a changed person. And for me, Venba and Spiritfarer did that for me, you know?
It's so hard sometimes, because people ask, like, how do you, you know, quantitative put in, you know, money spent for, you know, what you get return gameplay wise. And sometimes it actually annoys me when games just go on with bloat for no reason.
Yes.
When it's just like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you know when this was supposed to end, and you just added reams of stuff that doesn't need to be there. It's not adding to the story. It's not really adding to the experience. It's actually making it more irritating. And everybody is like, oh, well, it's that much money. I must get that much time out of it. Yes, you come to a certain level. But at the same time, like you said, Kat, you're trying to support people who are trying to make something different. Mm-hmm. And you got to weigh that. And, like, there's nothing wrong with waiting for a sale. But at the same time, like, in a lot of these indie games and stuff, I do try to buy them at launch to support and show that, I appreciate what people are attempting to create. Hopefully it all succeeds.
And these games are great palate cleansers in between large games. You know, I play a lot of, like, I discover a lot of these indie games through Game Pass or just like Steam sales.
Yep. And
I play them in between my sinking 150 hour in whatever medieval high fantasy RPG I'm playing in between. It's just like palate cleanser.
Jenny, you guys must find that most of the games that you guys probably see at Wholesome Games are a lot of the shorter, the kind of ones that fit within this snackable. I mean, you have a whole direct called a snackable direct.
Yeah.
Do you see that conversation pop up a lot where it's like cost versus hours when it comes to games?
I feel like at least within like the Wholesome Games community and a lot of like really indie aware players, I think they understand there's like quantity of hours that you can balance in sort of when you're weighing what to pay for a game, and then there's quality of hours. And what's really nice is the community, at least around like Wholesome Games and a lot of the titles I've worked on, have honestly been very like, we are aware that quality of hours also plays a part, and we also are aware games are expensive to make and that to pay people fairly, there's a certain price point that you kind of have to look at and explore as indie devs. So fortunately, we haven't had too much like either pushback or people like complaining, I guess, or sort of questioning and poking at it, which is really nice. 'Cause, like, I don't think any dev wants to create a situation where they're like, I'm going to outprice people so they have to pay me $1 million for my game. Like, developers want people to play their games. We're trying to balance, like, at least I'm speaking now from like my production side. When we tried to even determine pricing for like Spirit Swap, it's like, how much did we put in to make this? How much do we try to be as fair as possible? Like, how much would people want to pay for this? How much can people afford? Like, with our game, there's no way we could charge $70, but like Nintendo can charge $70 because they're Nintendo, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think there's a balance of like, we want to make sure people can access the game, but also make sure we're not like, that we're setting ourselves up to make more games in the future with the price that we're charging. So it's hard. So yeah, when they do, I see on like other forums that I look at, I see the question a lot, and it's like, I think you were saying, Lee, it's like, we understand money is very hard right now, especially with the economy being what it is. But at the same time, like, be kind to the developers if you are questioning that, because most likely, especially when indies are in the conversation, they're not trying to like eke every dollar out of you. They're trying to just find that balance. Yeah.
And it's very rare too that you find an indie game that has like microtransactions in it.
Exactly.
Well, that's a whole different.
Usually buy an experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like Minnit was a game that you could totally do. I paid $10 for it, USD on Steam. And, you know, if you only wanted to do the main quest, that's like $2 an hour, roughly, to get your money's worth. But, like, in comparison to entertainment nowadays, it's pennies. And so I don't know. Like, I get that people really want that, but I guess in some ways too, like, if I'm gonna pay less than, for me personally, if I'm gonna pay less than $30 USD for a game, I kind of don't also expect it to have like the big AAA wow factor either. Like, I want it to be a good story. I want it to be entertaining. I kind of expect to play it once and to get a great experience out of it. That's going to leave a mark on me that I'm like, yep, I remember I played that game. It was really unique for these reasons. I love the game mechanics. It made me think about games in a different way. And like I loved it and I'm not mad about it. But my expectations are totally different when I play and I pay for, a big title. Like when I play God of War or when I play Horizon, like I expect a lot. And I just don't have that same expectation like from another game. But usually it exceeds my expectation because it's so unique and grounded and with heart that I just can't like not help but want to go back to those games because they're important for the zeitgeist of gaming. And so like I love it. I love watching. When I started getting into gaming, I was kind of hooked into the big titles and the flashiness of all that offered with graphics and combat and all that stuff. And then once I got more mature or like more into the gaming and fed that hobby, I started to realize that I really needed and desired that deeper level of indie games to really kind of get into that grassroots level of creativity that I was looking for that you might get snippets of in big games, but it's just a wonderful richness of development, like creativity, neuron like jumping and lighting and everything that you want. And I think it's well worth diving into if you're into gaming. Like it's just kind of something that you really need to be exploring, I guess, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I think nowadays we need to be more mindful in our choices. Like, for example, this year is the year I decided not all the sub-services. I'm going to cancel all of them, and we're choosing what we want to watch, and I'll sub while we watch, and then I'll unsub. And I think gaming needs to have like that attitude as well. Like if you're not paying for Game Pass, if you're not paying for PlayStation Plus, if you're just like, it's no more jumping on Steam and being like $5, oh, it's $5, I'll buy it. Like it's cheap. Like I think we get into these backlogs and we get overwhelmed with our backlogs because we're not making mindful decisions. We're just letting our FOMO add a bunch of games. Like for example, I should have played Venba when it came out. But I got distracted by so many games. If I were more mindful about like what I want to play and when, I would have gotten to Venba much sooner. And I'm starting to clean out my life that way. To be like, like, sure, like I can spend $100 on one evening to go to the movie theater. But I will make a mindful decision of like, this is a night out. We're going to have fun. We're going to go to the VIP. We're going to get a boozy drink. We're going to get popcorn. I don't care. I'm going to have the time of my life. I'm going to pamper myself. And maybe we're going to watch a shit movie. It doesn't matter. I'm choosing the experience of going out. That's my mindful decision for the night. And maybe I cancel my Netflix to be able to afford that instead of having Netflix, flipping through it and never watching a goddamn thing. And so I hope
callback.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope a lot of our listeners get excited about playing these smaller games, to just sit down and, make a mindful decision of exploring something new in between all the AAA titles that come out.
I think this was a really fun experiment that I don't want to leave as an experiment. I feel like we can bring this back around again. The hardest challenge of this, I have to say, was trying to find a game that would be considered snackable and that we could finish in a fairly limited amount of time, as oftentimes we do jump on things fairly quickly.
Yeah.
We've done
Jenny's got the Prime platform to find out about things. But yeah, if folks listening to this podcast have recommendations, please throw them at us on Twitter, on Discord. It'd be much appreciated, because you never know what might be your new like hidden gem, right? Excellent. All right, well, that pretty much closes down the show for this week. As always, check out the show notes on girlsongames.ca for links to all the games we played this week, if you want to learn more and try them out for yourself. If you have the power to rate and review a podcast, it'd be much appreciated if you could do that for this one right here. Why? It helps us with discovery, pushes us up in the rankings, and if you leave a comment, it helps us build our show. We love to hear what you have to say. This is the moment in the show where we ask the crew to shout their social media handles so you can follow them anywhere and everywhere online. Of course, I want to very, 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 very much thank Jenny Windom, for coming to hang out with us this week after a very, very busy day and past few weeks. For you to give us your time. I really appreciate it. Where can people find you? More than welcome. Where can people find you, learn more about what you do, and all that good stuff?
Folks can find me pretty much everywhere now that I'm not on Twitter anymore. I'm Kim Chica on Blue Sky, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch. Actually, Jenny Windom on Instagram, if you're an Instagram person. And you can find Spirit Swap on Steam. You can find Wander Stop on Steam. So check out those games. Really proud of the team for both of them. We've done some really good work. And yeah, again, loved being a part of the show, coming back for a full episode, not just the interview. It's been very, very fun.
We will have to do this again. You will expect another email from me in a few months. I'll give you a little break.
Hell yeah.
Catherine, where can people find you?
I am CSDSBINS on X, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram. But I am very successful at curing my social media addiction. So find me on the Girls on Games Discord. That's where I shitpost nowadays.
Nice.
Joelle, where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram at JoelleLauren87, on Blue Sky at JoelleLauren, but always hanging out and chatting in the Discord. Come and say hi.
And I only adore most social media platforms, but of course you want to know everything there is to know about Girls on Games. You can track us down at The Girls on Games on X and Facebook. Just Girls on Games, no thought in there on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. It's not written in the sheet. That's why I always forget it. Discord.me/Girls on Games to continue this lovely conversation and more. But of course, if you ever need to know anything at all, you can track it down at our home base. That's our website, girlsongames.ca. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Joelle. Thank you, Jenny. It's been another lovely week in video games. And I don't know what I'm going to go play now. There's lots of options. I might have gotten a review for a game, a review code that I might go play now. Excellent. No hints for a few weeks from now. Talk to you all soon. Bye.
Bye.